this past week, I've had a couple of conversations that were actually relevant to a younger life in your 20s and how it compares to the generations of today. So just to get your wheels turning, start thinking about that. And welcome back to the Brewed for Life podcast. Um, if you're not already, check out the social media pages. Brewed for Life podcast on Instagram, Baines Brewing on Instagram. Check them out. If you're not following, follow. You'll enjoy it. Every morning I do a rant on there in my story for the podcast page, so check that out. So the conversation I was having in this past week, and it kind of made me start thinking about a couple of different avenues. Is one, um, what did you do in your 20s? Were you a drinker? Were you into some form of drugs, whether it be like coke, weed, prescription pills? Like when I was in my 20s, all those things were pretty relevant. Or were you like were you a drinker? And what started that conversation and what made me start thinking about some of these things is the games that we played then, your beer pong, your flip cup, your dice game like three man, card games like asshole or kings or any of those kind of things that you did in your 20s or your early college years. Um what do you like do people still do these things now? Uh, I would say yes. Like I know people still play beer pong, but they don't play beer pong the way that my generation did. And my generation had, depending on where you were, there was a cup of water on the table to wash the ball off. But there was beer in the cups, and you had to drink your beer every single time the ball went in there. You couldn't like fill another cup. You couldn't put it to the side. And all the cups were filled the same level, and there was definitely um, an accountability and a balance for what each team had to drink. Uh, you know, at least what was in front of them to drink. Obviously the losers finished all the rest of the cups, so there was definitely a real level of beer being drank, and most of us at the time, not only were there beer in the cups, but we had a beer in our hand too. And at least my generation and my group of friends, it was two cans of beer to fill your cups on each side of the table. So if you lost, not only did you drink all of your cups, which was a full beer, you were to split the remaining cups of the winning team and you drank those. And we didn't replace cups. We didn't do any of those things. That a lot of it seems like the newer generations do that. They they just have like the cups are filled with water and you were just take a sip of your drink, as cups were hit and you remove them from the table or whatever. It just seems like generations have pulled back from that style of drinking. Like the media will call it binge drinking, but I mean, I think we all, at least my generation, can say that like, well, we were there to party, and that's what we did. Um, and my generation, we played flip cup and all those other games, but I think beer pong and flip cup were probably the two biggest games played at most parties. I mean, do kids nowadays, or does the younger generation nowadays, do they still play these games, and do they still play them? Like what are the rules and stuff that they play by? We had a bunch of different rules, like a hand rule, your hand couldn't go past the table to avoid people leaning, people made house rules and all this other nonsense. Like so do people still do this? Do college kids still play beer pong? Is it still something that is very popular among people that are out drinking and going to house parties and whatever else? Like it used to be such a big part of the college life in your early 20s was, parties on campus or going to the bar and all that kind of stuff. And what came from this conversation that I had earlier was that the newer generation is consuming less alcohol than previous generations. And that kind of was crazy to me because in a world where there's so many different celebrities and stuff getting involved in the alcohol business, and with how prevalent the craft beer scene is and people visiting breweries, it actually surprised me to hear that they are consuming less alcohol than previous generations, and that's wild to me. But it also made me think about weed is legal in a bunch of states now. So is that why? Because other things are more prevalent and things are easier to get a hold of. Like in my younger years, if you wanted weed, you need to find a drug dealer or you needed to know somebody that smoked and they knew where to get it from. Uh, Now you can walk into it like you're walking in the CVS. You show your ID and you can pretty much buy what you want and leave. I think I don't know if this is true, but like when I was younger, the kids that smoked a lot of weed, like they never got sick, and it made me wonder if there was something within the buds or the flower or whatever your term is for it, that like helped your body fight against different things. I mean, we know that Bob Marley, who is right or wrong the poster child of reggae and smoking weed and whatever else, and he died of cancer. So it's obviously not a fix all for everything. But do you think, and do you think that maybe the smoking weed has assumed the position of where people were drinking more often? And what do you think what do you think the impact on the body is? Do you think one is healthier than the other? I mean, we know that long-term heavy alcohol abuse can lead to organ failure and a bunch of other things. But what is the long-term use of people who smoke weed? Willie Nelson is old as shit, and he's been smoking weed forever, and the older movies like the Cheech and Chong movies, like those guys are still alive. Snoop smokes a ton of weed. I mean, we haven't heard of any major medical issues with him. It makes you wonder, like, are there some good side effects to using marijuana in some capacity? I'm not saying you need to be high all the time and smoke it all the time, but I wonder if there is some truth in the fact that it may be medicinally healing for the human body. What are your thoughts? Think about that. Follow up with me. Send me a comment or whatever on the Spotify page, or feel free to jump on the Instagram page and let me know what your thoughts are on that. Something else that had recently been on my mind, because I have several friends that are in law enforcement, and outside of law enforcement, they are everything as an individual that you would want to be an officer in your area. They give back to the community. They are good, caring people. Um, they are not officers like the media would want you to perceive an officer to be, which unfortunately for them, because there are a way more good officers in this world than there are bad ones. But the media would make you believe that everyone is a stereotypical asshole and is racially biased and is just looking to abuse their power. And yes, I mean, we can all say that in every profession there are people that do those things, and law enforcement is not the exception to the rule. There are people that abuse their power and probably do some things that they should not do to public. Um, and I'm sure that, there are people that maybe don't treat the public with the level of respect that they command for themselves. I think we can all agree to that. But there are good ones out there. And there are people that genuinely care about the people that live in their communities. And there are people that give back to the community in every possible situation that they can. There are people that are officers that aren't always looking to arrest somebody or give somebody, a hard time just for the sake of doing it. There are a lot of officers that give people breaks because sometimes they are just in a shit situation, and that one person could make a difference just by how that interaction goes. And those are the good ones that are out there. And those are the ones that we need to be given the chance to show the people that think all officers are bad that they can see that there are some ones out there that really, really care about their communities and are willing to not, you know, give you that bad interaction that you are waiting to have happen. Um, with that said, I'm not going to say that I haven't dealt with my own officers that have been complete jerks for no reason. When you comply to everything and you show them the level of respect that I think that the position commands, which is, they do put their lives on the line every single day. I'm not saying that they're put in those situations every single day where their life is in jeopardy, but they have a higher percentile of that happening than the rest of us do. Like they run towards people in need. They are there to help others, and their lives are put in situations where something bad could happen to them. Yes. So I am not a biased individual. I know that there are officers on both sides that are good and bad. I think, like I said, the good ones severely outweigh the bad ones. It's just the good ones don't always get the exposure and the recognition that they deserve. With that said, in the area that I live in, a few years ago, a couple of officers lost their lives in the line of duty. It's tragic, young officers with young families, and they signed up to protect people, to make people's lives better, to make people's lives safer, and while trying to do that, they lost their lives. So my buddy had been posting some stuff on about honoring their badge numbers by running or walking or doing something to travel the distance of their badge number. And I try to get involved in those kind of things as much as I possibly can because, like I said, I have a high level of respect for the individuals that put their lives on the line every single day. So I jumped on board, and yesterday I did one step of that. Today I did another. Tomorrow I will do another. I encourage you guys to check out the page because I will be posting about it every single day. Today's task was 4.66 miles. I am a day behind because I want to make sure that I hit each one of those goals to do the challenge as much respect as it demands. Tomorrow there will be another one. So please, and nobody's asking for donations. Nobody's asking for any of that kind of stuff. What is being asked by me is challenge yourself. Do it in honor of those that have respected us as citizens and put their lives on the line to make sure that we live in a society where we can feel safe. It's a small ask. I am not somebody who does a lot of cardio. I do walk every single morning and I do some steady state stuff on the weekends, but to do 4.66 miles this morning was a little tedious. But like I said, it's a small thing to do for somebody who sacrificed their life for others. So please jump on board. Even if you're a day behind like me, it's worth it. Post about it. It'll be hashtag honor them run club. So put that up there. Show a little respect. Do the right thing. It'll be good for yourself, for your health, and it'll show that these gentlemen that lost their lives can be honored, and people are still respecting what they did, and um, it'll be beneficial for everybody. Trust me on this. So please jump on and do that. Outside of that, I got 2 days left with my current job, and then or 2 days left before I give my notice, I should say. And I can't wait to get the hell out of this place. The communication level, it just doesn't get any better. Um, more shit happens. People say stupid shit, and they definitely don't give a fuck about anything that they should. Um, Tools to make us do our job better, information to make us do our job better. Like, we're just kind of left in the dark and handcuffed. So I can't wait to be able to give this notice, and it'll be interesting to see how it is received. I really don't care how it's received. I don't care if they let me go or whatever. Um, I just I look forward to the opportunity that's ahead of me, and I've talked about it many times. Growth is important, and challenging yourself is important. This is all part of the process. So I know I can do um, this job regardless of who I work for, but primarily, like I had said last week, what I'm looking for is the opportunity to grow, and growth is important because growth, it brings challenges, which brings more money and all of those things. So I look forward to where this is going. Outside of that, I'm not even sure what is more important in this world. And where people think their lives should go. But family should always be the priority, and you should always gear your life towards what's best for you and what's best for your family. And when I say your family, I'm not talking about your parents and all of that. I'm talking about if you are, have a significant other and you have kids, that is your center force and your driving force for every single day. And you should be able to push forward on that and use it as your driving, your motivation, all the things that make you want your day and your life to be better. So center yourself, make sure your family is involved, make sure that you communicate well with your significant other, and drive your life forward every single day. Jump on the social media pages, make sure that you follow up with this Honor Them Run Club. I want to see as many people jump on board with this. Tag me, tag that. Let's do this together. Let's show that there is a huge level of support and appreciation for what these officers give us every single day. As always, we'll talk to you real soon.